Hello guys, and welcome to a very, very belated 100 subscriber PopIt special. Obviously I've been promising this video for quite some time, just between work, being a dad and life and everything in between. I've only just now found some time to sit down and actually go through all the comments and questions I've had for my Q&A and get them answered, basically. So that's going to be today's video. I just want to thank everyone who did send me questions. There was a couple of chaps on Instagram. My girlfriend gave me a few questions, and Mr. Mystery Box himself, Wayne Deacon, sent me a bunch of questions as well. So I really appreciate that. Obviously, if I have missed your question, I do apologise because I did make posts previously asking about this, but that was quite some time ago, so I've not been able to find exactly where I posted that. But there is kind of a part 2 to this video, so if I did forget your question, or you had another question that you think of while watching the video, drop it down below and I will answer it in the next video. But stick around to the end, because I do have a bit of a surprise. It's quite a nice one. So we're going to just get straight into this. So the first question I had, and also I do want to say I don't remember exactly who asked what. I've literally just compiled a list in a nice, easy to read format because I'm a very simple man, and this is just the easiest way for me to do it. So once again, if I did miss your question, just let me know. So the first question I got was, what did I think about pop's value in the future? And the reference was to Beanie Babies, where obviously they completely crashed, and they went from being worth a lot to being more or less worthless, and my thoughts on whether or not that's going to be the way pops go. Now, my first thought in this answer initially is that crazes come and go. Okay, so I remember when I was in school, we went through Duel Masters cards, Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Crazy Bones. So in terms of collecting stuff across, whether you're a kid or an adult, there are fads and crazes. But one thing I would say about pops is they do seem to have considerably more staying power, and I think that just comes down to the way Funko Pops are, and that. So I don't really consider myself a Funko Pop collector. Now that sounds really crazy, but I collect anime Funko Pops, and I collect some Disney Funko Pops, but I don't just collect pops, right? So I'm not really too interested in the Funko original stuff. I'm not really interested in ad icons. I get pops of characters that I like and like shows that I've seen. So it is weird to say, but like I say, don't really consider myself a quote unquote pop collector in terms of someone who just collects sort of a bit of everything. And I think the staying power of pops does come from that, and obviously pop culture is a thing that in the modern Western world, pop culture is a huge thing because it really is escapism for a lot of people. Marvel movies, Star Wars movies, comics, manga, anime, and Netflix shows, all these things that are keeping us all sane, and pops just kind of cater to that continuation. Like, you watch an anime, like you watch Demon Slayer, a really great show, and it's like, oh cool, I can get Nezuko, as a pop vinyl, and like even after I finish this show I can be like, yeah, that show's really cool and this figure looks awesome. So for me, I think they have more staying power than what Beanie Babies had, where they were just people collect Beanie Babies for collecting Beanie Babies. It wasn't like you had Star Wars Beanie Babies. I mean, you probably do now, but I think when it was a craze, probably not so much. But no, I think there is more staying power. Do I think it's forever? Probably not. I don't think ever anything is like that. I think Funko are going to be around a long time. They've survived throughout the pandemic. Prices might be going up a little bit. Shipping has just been a bit mad across the board, especially with new lines. But I think they are pretty much in it for the long run. As much as I dislike the concept of NFTs as a whole, just for all the bad things about them, they are in that market now as well, so it's not just like they are just doing the plastic figures. But pops are everywhere. Like if you go into any town in England, I mean obviously I only speak for England and Wales, so that's where I live, but you'll be able to find a shop that sells pops. They'll be somewhere, be it like a little geeky small business, or Tesco's, or, you know, Game, Forbidden Planet, there'll be somewhere you can get Pops. And they're everywhere. And people who hate them really notice them, and they really hate them. But no, this is a bit of a long-winded answer, but I think there's more staying power than Beanie Babies. In terms of value, hard to say. Obviously, Grails stick around. Things that have huge followings keep value. You know, things like Naruto, the expensive Naruto Pops will probably be expensive, you know, for the longest time, just because there are new people starting these animes all the time. Depends on the figure, ultimately. But no, I think definitely more staying power than Beanie Babies. Really long answer. That was just the first question. That was 5 minutes. I'm going to have to speed up a little bit. The second question is my advice for storing Pops. So, to be honest, the best luck I've had with storage is these bookshelves right here. So you sort of see them to the side here. You'll see them in my other videos in the background. They just really, really work. You get a good view of all your Pops. You can obviously stack them up higher as well. And if you've got Pops that you don't care to display, you can keep them behind. Because I found that sort of like old Pops that don't have much value, like common Kingdom Hearts Pops, that I bought sort of when I was on the Kingdom Hearts hype, and they just now sit behind. So they're the ones I recommend. I did pick up a glass cabinet. I don't think they really work as well for Pops. As you can see sort of here, I've got like things facing to the side, which I'm not a huge fan of, honestly. Like the depth is really wasted. Because obviously being an inbox collector, it doesn't really work. It was pretty kind of a dumb investment. Initially I got it because I was going to start collecting anime figures, like statues as well. And obviously they look good in a glass cabinet. But honestly, I wish I hadn't bought that, because the bookshelves do a much better job. And these were like £30 each in Argos. I think they discontinued those ones and they're like 60 quid. And I think they're maybe slightly bigger, slightly deeper. But yeah, no, that's definitely what I recommend. So my top 3 anime and why. So number 1, just because it was one of the first ones I saw, one of the first things that made me kind of see cartoons in a different way, was Elfen Lied. Now, or Lied if you want to pronounce it correctly. It's Lied because it's German for song. It was just the first one I watched. I was introduced to it by one of my good friends. When I was 11 or 12, and it just really that was kind of the first time I saw something that was like for teens, you know, with the blood and the nudity, and just this story underneath that I absolutely fell in love with. If you saw my post on Instagram, like, you know, it was hugely important to me in my teens, and then going into early adulthood. It's just a really great show. So that's my unequivocal number 1. And then the other 2, I guess, are in no particular order. Honestly, I know it's quite new, and it's almost silly to say, but honestly, I really rate Demon Slayer. Like, I really, really rate that show really highly. Like, it's one of those shows that really, it's just, I can watch, and I can literally just sit and binge a whole season in one day, and I'm not normally that kind of person, even if I really like something. I'm literally having to pace myself out just so I don't finish the whole season and have that much longer to wait for the next one. But no, I really, really rate Demon Slayer. The final spot's a bit harder, to be honest, because I'm really, really enjoying Naruto. I think that's the first time I sort of watched an anime and sort of thought, I actually want to collect all of these. But then I also really enjoy My Hero Academia, because that was probably the first anime that made me want to collect the anime Pops. I think it was just the figures. This was before I'd even seen the show, but the figures in the box just looked so cool, and I just really wanted to start collecting them. So I think it's kind of a draw through me. I might have to cheat and say 4. And I know there's not some of the classics in there. Death Note I also rate very highly, of course. That's really, really good. Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood I really rate. But I think for me, in terms of, I think Naruto is the one I've seen the most episodes of. I've obviously seen over 200 plus episodes so far, with 500 odd more to go. And Hero, it was kind of got me into collecting anime Pops. So I'm going to kind of cheat a bit and say those 4. How did I start as a collector? So, I'll be completely honest, probably from when I first sort of started taking notice of Pops, was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. So I was like, 17, 18? I thought they were dumb as hell. I thought they were so terrible. My experience from them was seeing people posting in Comic-Con pages of them, and I just remember looking at them and thinking, these look garbage. I can't imagine spending a penny on these. These look so awful. Why not just get a figure of this character? You know? And this was for any people sharing Star Wars. And I think there's a Comic-Con Facebook pages on. I was just seeing people sharing before. These look so dumb. But then I watched a TV show called Vikings. Definitely recommend Vikings if you've not seen it, by the way. Really, really good show. And I kind of wanted some merch for it. You know, I wanted like a poster or a t-shirt or something. And I just happened to be in my local game shop in my old hometown, and they had a pop vinyl of Lagatha, who is one of the characters from that. And I just thought, you know, I don't particularly like pops, but this figure is really cool. And Lagatha, if you've seen it, you know Lagatha's an absolute badass. And if you've not seen it, spoilers, Lagatha's an absolute badass. And yeah, so I got it. I even had it out of box for a long time. I kept hold of the box. But yeah, I just had it on my shelf for a long time, and then that was it. And I think the next time I looked at it was when I sort of noticed the My Hero Academia pops, and that's when I sort of proper got back into collecting them. I had a few Marvel ones because I was up until Endgame I was big into MCU. For me personally, I'm less interested post Endgame, but no, it was just a Lagatha pop for me, and that sort of begun it. And then obviously Hero sort of got me more into it. And obviously I worked in a toy shop for a long time, so seeing them just in the store didn't help either in terms of trying to save any money. Favorite football team? I did get a few sports questions. I'm not a sports guy at all. I just never have been. It's too much moving about for me. I'm a humble, lazy fat guy. Sports not my thing. So unfortunately, I have an answer for that. Next, I had, if I could reboot a movie or franchise, which would it be? I think I'd kind of cheat a little bit because it's not so much a reboot. Because for me, so the example, it was Fuzzy Dunlop on Instagram, really fun guy, been supporting me since day one. Really appreciate him for the question. He's sent a few of these questions actually. His suggestion was Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I would like to see. Now I'll make this brief because I could go on for hours. I would like to see Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9 with George Lucas's original vision. So, you know, not the Disney directors, writers, producers, not anyone else. You know, I'd like to see I say not everyone else. I would like to see Dave Filoni, Jon Favreau, and George Lucas sit down and make Star Wars 7, 8, 9. Make a Star Wars trilogy. Because I personally have really enjoyed everything Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau have done for Star Wars. I think more so than all of 7, 8, and 9. I think they've really captured the feeling of what Star Wars was, you know, kind of find that balance between the original trilogy and the prequels. I'm 26, so when I was a kid, I saw episode 2 and 3 in the cinema. So for me, growing up with the prequels, I don't have as much disdain for them as much as what some people who grew up with the originals have. And don't get me wrong, I can fully appreciate that it's probably the exact same situation now where me, as someone who grew up with the prequels, now doesn't like the sequels. But my younger brother, for example, who's 11, if he was more into Star Wars, he might much more enjoy the sequels. But for me personally, that's why I'd like to see the 3 of those, with, you know, continuing after episode 6. Like I say, I won't go into any more detail than that because I could make a video that's about 4 hours long, and with no toxicity. And for a Star Wars fan, I think that's quite an achievement because I do love Star Wars. The community can be a little bit toxic, and I won't go any more detail than that. But yeah, those 3 making a Star Wars trilogy. That's what I'd like to see. Technically a reboot, I guess. I hope that's an okay answer. The next question was, I believe this was, it might have been Fuzzy Dunlop, so I'm not sure. Who would I put on banknotes if they were to change? Now, I know historically it's been politicians. Personally, for me, I'd do musicians. For the 5, 10, 20, and I guess 50. I don't know if the 50 is still about. I think it might have been removed because there was only certain kinds of people using 50s, and they were not lawful generally. I would put musicians. I would put Freddie Mercury from Queen. I'd also put Elton John and the Beatles, because I think they're sort of some of the most influential British musicians, and I think that's a much more For me personally, being a music fan, and don't get me wrong, I've probably left off. There are plenty of other musicians who I would definitely put. I'm a huge Iron Maiden fan, so if there was £100 note, I'd put them on that. You know, Eric Clapton, you know, the guys from Pink Floyd. You know, plenty of these British musicians. But yeah, it'd be big legendary British musicians: Freddie Mercury, Elton John, Black Sabbath, and the Beatles for me. I think that would be really cool. Won't ever happen, mind you, but it would be quite cool. The worst pop ever. The absolute worst pop ever. So this is quite a difficult one, because, as I said earlier on in the video, I'm not a quote-unquote pop collector, so to me, a lot of pops do look trash. Like, a lot of pops come out and I just look at them and I think, wow, you would have to be like a really big fan of the subject matter to want this figure. And yeah, there have been some stinkers. If someone says the worst pop ever, the one that first comes to mind would be the live action Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. Abomination. I just look at that and I think, man, it just doesn't translate well into pop form. Pops I regret not buying. Oh my god. So, I remember I'd gone on holiday. I was still working at the toy shop. I'd gone on holiday for a bit. I'd come back, and this is long before I got into, because I worked at the toy shop I worked for. I've worked in 2 different branches. One before I moved away for uni, and then obviously one in Cardiff when I was at uni. And I just remember seeing, looking back, my god, if I could scream at myself from the future, I'd say please buy them. They had them on special offer. Oh god, so 6-inch Titan Pops. You know how they go for like £80 to £200 roughly. Yeah, so they had the Armored Titan and the Female Titan for like £8 or £9. Pretty perfect condition. Didn't get them. Obviously, it's one of those things I wasn't to know. But I guess it's one of those things, if I look back, I just sort of scream myself, because they were right there. They were right there. No one was getting them. They were doing £16, you know. If only I'd have known. Casual or smart? Casual. I'm so casual, honestly. I'm usually wearing joggers and a t-shirt. That's generally me. I would like to put more effort into sort of my appearance in terms of the way I dress. But at the moment where I'm working from home, it's just kind of like, this does the job. Pineapple on pizza? No, but not because of any kind of controversy, mainly just because I have very little things on pizza. I'm very fussy, so I'll eat cheese pizza, I'll eat pepperoni pizza, and if I go to Domino's, I get ground beef and bacon on pizza. So yeah, no, but also no to, like, I won't eat a chicken kind of pizza or anything like that. So I'm very, very limited on things I eat on pizza. So it isn't like a political stance about whether I eat pineapple pizza or not. It's more that because it's not bacon, beef, or pepperoni, it doesn't go on my pizza. Next we have my worst and best mystery box pull. So hilariously, I think they were from the same company. So the absolute worst was this one. It's a full 2017 convention pop. So you'd think, wow, you know, when I first pulled that out, I was like, damn, 2017 convention pop? That must have some value. No, it doesn't. And from the same company, I will say it was Double Box Toys. From the same company, I got the Glow Blue Spirit Chase from Avatar, which was obviously a really good pull, really good value. It would have been a whole lot better were it not for the fact that I already had the pop. So it was an incredible pull, but for me personally, it could have been that much better. What got me started on YouTube? So, around the time of the pandemic, I guess you could say doubled down on collecting. You know, it was just something that I got much more into. I play card games, so I play Card by Vanguard. And obviously where the shops I played at had to close due to government restrictions because of the pandemic, I wasn't able to go out and play. So I was kind of at a position where, like, my main hobby just stopped existing for a while. And so for me, I just needed something to, you know, fill that gap. You know, just to have that something that, you know, you have ownership of. And obviously when you're a parent, you have less spare time, but I just needed something. And for me, Pops filled that gap. And I just really wanted to get involved with the community, really, to be honest. Like, that's always been the goal of this channel, you know. It's one of the reasons why I've not kind of, you know, pushed for growth or subscribers, or anything like that. You know, I don't really, early on I used Instagram to like promote my videos and stuff, but nowadays I just kind of post, let people know I post, leave it at that. I don't sort of like go out of my way to push it out there. You know, for me it is more about that community aspect. But yeah, no, it was just about kind of wanting to have a channel and share with people and talk with people. There's been a bunch of bigger YouTubers than me who've been like super supportive and always willing to talk to me. Just off the top of my head, Wayne Deacon, you all know him, you know, Mr. Mystery Box himself, absolutely batshit crazy, but I love him. I love him so much. I think the community loves him. He is really, I've heard him described as a pillar of the community, and I couldn't agree more. You know, he's so funny. Him and Logan make hilarious videos, even when they're not trying to be funny. They're absolutely bonkers and amazing. So there's them, Scarborough Couple as well, another one. I've spoken to them a bit, and you know, they allowed me, they asked me to be in one of their videos. So that was really cool. The one about which sandwich you like. Really enjoy their content. You know, I spoke to them a lot as well. I spoke to Sean quite a lot through Instagram. Again, just super supportive. And if you have, and I don't want to make this video too long, but obviously there are other people I've spoken to and have been super supportive and who I really enjoy speaking to. Just because I don't say you now doesn't mean I don't appreciate you. You know, I just appreciate the whole communal aspect of Facebook Funko groups and then YouTube channels as well. So yeah, that's really what got me started. I just wanted to have my own content, just reach out and just try and put some good, you know, some good back into the universe if I can, because obviously it's been a pretty crazy couple of years. So I think anything good anyone can give, I think is good. It's all good. How bad are my eyes? They're pretty bad, I'll be honest. I think every time I go to the opticians they get worse. You know, I stay up playing video games too late. You know, I work on a computer screen. My main hobbies are, you know, collecting and video games, so I'm putting a lot of strain on my eyes. Yeah, so I don't know off the top of my head exactly how bad, but they're bad. They're real bad. Best place on holiday. See, that's a kind of hard one, because for me, like every weeb, like every anime fan, you know, the best holiday I will ever go on my life, fingers crossed I can actually get there, will be a trip to Japan. You know, just going to the absolute, you know, nerdy capital of the world. Just getting in, you know, breathing in some of that culture, all that crazy merch and all the other crazy stuff that Japan has to offer. Like I said, I've not been, I would very much like to. But outside of that, like for me, a lot of holidays, especially in the UK, they're all a bit the same. I guess scenic holidays. Me and my girlfriend were talking about going to Snowdonia, just because of that beautiful natural landscape. So I'm a bit weird in terms of like things like locations I enjoy, because my two favourite things on the opposite end of the spectrum, I really like the idea of a super busy tech city like Tokyo, but then I also really like the idea of the open natural beauty of Snowdonia. And then kind of everything else in the middle is just the same. I'm looking forward to a point where I can take, well, me and my girlfriend can take our daughter on holiday to like one of those British holidays things or something. Because I remember just loving that as a kid. You know, we went sort of every couple of years when I was younger. But yeah, and other than that, in terms of holidays I've already been on, I think you go to you need to have a love for some place, because if you just go to some random place and it's like, oh, there's a beach, and you know, it's the same as every other British beach. Obviously, if you live there, you're going to have a much different opinion of it. But for me, yeah, so my answer is a bit all over the place for that one, so I do apologise. Best company to buy Pops from? Now, for me, it depends what you're buying. If you're buying in stock and, you know, the Pop is in stock and it's there, it's good to go, For me, it's pop figures, because you earn a fair amount for everything you spend, always send you a protector, always get free jelly beans, always really well packed, and you'll get it within a couple of days. Brilliant, job done. For pre-orders of stuff that's kind of long-term out of stock, this is going to sound controversial, but I would say pop in a box. And that is because you're going to have a wait. You're going to have a huge wait. But eventually, you're going to get that pop for £10. Good example, I pre-ordered a bunch of the Hunter x Hunter pops. The Kurapika came recently. On eBay, that's like, I think off the top of my head, it's 20, 30 quid roughly. Generally only in the States. Generally, you're paying a lot more. I got it for 10 quid. So that, for me, that's good. A lot of the time you are going to be waiting a long time. You might not ever get it, but if you're happy to wait, you do save a lot of money. I've also really enjoyed ordering from Danny Jazz, just because I really like their website setup, and they've always got stock, and they don't price gouge. Like, they're really good with their prices. Like, I pre-ordered most of my Demon Slayer American sticker exclusives from them, and the prices were really good. They were charging like £10 less than double box toys, and that's not sharing double box toys, but like, that's huge kudos to Danny and Jazz. Yeah, really enjoy them. And obviously they're on the Facebook pages as well, so I was just inquiring where the Demon Slayer pops were, and they did just say they apologise. They just explain, obviously it is delays, Funko's end, which obviously these retailers have no control of. So yeah, those would be the 3 retailers I would buy from. Next, someone asked, how am I enjoying being a dad? I think this might have been Mr. Deacon as well who asked. It is a journey. It is a real... I don't want to be one of those people who are like, oh, having kids is the best thing ever. Because sometimes it's not. Sometimes if, when they won't stop crying and you don't know what to do and you don't know how to help them, that really sucks. But it is unlike anything I've done before. It is wild. I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's she is mental, but she does and says the funniest things, and yeah, no, I'm enjoying. Like I said, it is something way different. It's something that there is no formal training available for. You are just very much shoved in. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can prepare all you like, from the time when you're trying to the time when you find out, your partner's pregnant and you're going to have a kid. But really, there is nothing to prepare you for when it actually happens. She's 2 now, and it's still sometimes like, Jesus Christ, we created this little person. Oh my God. And every day you just kind of think, like, you hope you do best by them. But no, I'm really enjoying it. And, if someone is thinking about it, yeah, it's hard sometimes. It sucks sometimes. When they're in pain and there's nothing you can do, that sucks. But it's all worth it. It's all worth it. So yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. That's a nice question. Thank you for that. And the final question on this list is going to be the pop I want made. So I think I'm going to do a whole follow-up video on this question, because there are a lot of pops I want made. But if I was to select one pop and just one pop only to be created, no, I tell a lie, 2 pops. The first one, the line doesn't exist, and this goes back to the first or second question, maybe the third, about anime, and that's Elfen Lied. Just the main character Lucy, an Elfen Lied pop of her. I'd love that, because the only figures that exist for Elfen Lied, I'll put pictures of them up here, and maybe the latest eBay sold listings, but they're rare, they're expensive, and they're the kind of expensive that for the quality of the figure, that's not what you're getting. You're paying because they're so rare. So I'd like to see a pop of her. And the other one is Hinata from Naruto, because my goodness, there have been so many pops. How have we not? And I guess major spoilers here if you're planning to watch Naruto or only a little way through Naruto. This doesn't happen to Boruto, but spoilers. Naruto's damn wife. She is married to the most powerful character in Naruto. I mean, most powerful man in this village. He's the leader of the whole village. He's the big chief. He is Naruto. The anime's called Naruto. That him. His son is Boruto, who is the name of the the follow-up series. His mother is Hinata. We should have had a Hinata by now. And I'm not going to go too much into this, because going by the time here, it's already been 40 minutes since I started recording. Obviously that will be cut right down through editing. So I hope that those of you who have asked questions, I hope the answers I've given satisfy. And if you have thought of anything while watching this, or you wanted any, I guess, further information about anything I've said, drop a comment down below. Like I said, there is going to be a follow-up video, because I am going to be doing a giveaway. Now, the only thing I will say about the giveaway is this one is going to be UK only, and I do apologise for that. But it is just because at the moment it's been a really rough month, obviously with it being January, which is after Christmas, and it's going to cost me enough to post what is being given away into the UK. Unfortunately, at this time, I cannot afford to ship it internationally, so I do apologise for that. I know a lot of my, I know I've got subscribers from the States, from Australia, so I really do apologise to you guys that this one is not open to yourselves. But in the future, I will be doing more giveaways, and I'll make sure that that is open internationally, because I know a lot of people will do all their giveaways only in the UK, or only, like, if you're American, only in the States. But I feel like where you live shouldn't matter generally. This is purely a money thing. Don't worry, there will be another giveaway that you can enter. Anyway guys, that's going to be the next video, so keep an eye out for that one. And like I say, that will be the part 2-ish, so if there are any questions you've got for me, pop them down below, and then I'll answer them in the next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. As always, please stay safe, stay positive, because I promise we're going to get through this. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a lovely day.